Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is R.S. Raghu bringing glimpses of major developments of the day from across the globe. The headlines. India and Denmark call for a common approach between like-minded nations to tackle global challenges. India slams Pakistan in Unhrc over human rights violations on its minorities and media personnel. In U.S. presidential elections, Joe Biden slightly boosts his edge over Donald Trump in both national and state-level polls. UN urges Armenia and Azerbaijan to end tensions over the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict zone. And in tennis, Andy Murray crashes out in the first round of the French Open. Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi and his Danish counterpart, Mette Frederiksen, held a virtual bilateral summit this evening. Mr. Modi said this summit will be very useful for India-Denmark relations. It will also help in creating a common approach between the like-minded nations to tackle global challenges.
पिछले कई महीनों की घटनाओं ने यह स्पष्ट कर दिया है कि हमारे जैसे लाइक माइंडेड देशों का जो एक रूल्स बेस्ड ट्रांसपेरेंट ह्यूमैनिटेरियन और डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यू सिस्टम शेयर करते हैं, साथ मिलकर काम करना कितना आवश्यक है। वैक्सीन डेवलपमेंट में भी लाइक माइंडेड कंट्रीज के बीच कोलैबोरेशन से इस पैंडेमिक से निपटने में मदद मिलेगी। इस महामारी के दौरान भारत की फार्मा उत्पादन क्षमताएं पूरे विश्व के लिए उपयोगी रही है। हम यही प्रयास वैक्सीन के क्षेत्र में भी कर रहे हैं। हमारे आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान का भी यही प्रयास है कि प्रमुख आर्थिक क्षेत्रों में भारत की क्षमताएं बढ़े और वे विश्व के भी काम आए।
Mr. Modi said, COVID-19 pandemic has shown that it is important to diversify the global supply chains and become resilient to such shocks.
कोविड-19 ने दिखाया है कि ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन्स का किसी भी सिंगल सोर्स पर अत्यधिक निर्भर होना कितना रिस्की होता है। हम जापान और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ मिलकर सप्लाई चेन को डाइवर्सिफाई करना और रेजिलियंस के लिए काम कर रहे हैं। अन्य लाइक माइंडेड देश भी इस प्रयत्न में जुड़ सकते हैं।
The Danish Prime Minister said that the summit is a milestone on the bilateral relations and a forward-looking agreement on green strategic partnership between the countries. She said COVID-19 has posed a challenge to all, which all countries have to deal with unitedly. India on Monday slammed Pakistan for institutionalizing enforced disappearances as a tool of subjugation against dissent and criticism. It has stated that Pakistan continues to be a safe haven for terrorists. India's representative at the United Nations Human Rights Council UNHRC highlighted that Pakistan is known as the killing field for the minorities.
Pakistan has been continuously misusing this august forum for malicious propaganda against my country. Various international organizations have termed Pakistan as the killing field for minorities. The Ahmadis remains the most persecuted community in Pakistan under the aegis of the so-called Constitution of Pakistan. Hundreds of Christians are persecuted every year. It's deplorable that Pakistan has institutionalized enforced disappearance as a tool of subjugation against dissent and criticism. Children as young as 12 years old in Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Sindh are normally abducted and trained to be suicide bombers. Unfortunately, murder, harassment, assault are the wages for independent journalists in Pakistan's so-called democracy.
The exiled political leaders from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, POK, have also raised the issue at the ongoing 45th session of UNHRC in Geneva. They said abduction, torture and harassment of activists and journalists by Pakistani agencies in the illegally occupied region has become the order of the day. Still at UNHRC meet in Geneva, a political activist from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, POK, lambasted Pakistan and China for constructing mega dams in the occupied territories. Nasir Aziz Khan, central spokesperson of United Kashmir People's National Party, said natural resources in disputed areas of POK and Gilgit-Baltistan are being plundered. It has deprived people of their own natural wealth. Kashmiris are owners of rivers and water, but Islamabad is constructing mega dams without consulting local population. Pakistan and China have signed agreements to construct Azad Patan and Kohala hydropower projects which will be built on Jhelum River in the POK. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Democratic presidential challenger Joe Biden slightly boosted his edge in both national and battleground polls with the past week. President Donald Trump is preparing to legally contest the outcome based on concerns over mail-in ballot fraud. State-level polling reveals that if elections were held today, Biden would win by a landslide. Biden still leads in 8 of the top 10 largest battleground states. However, there still is a path to victory for Trump considering Biden's lead in 5 battleground states is under 5%. In southwest China's Yunnan province, local Center for Disease Control and Prevention has confirmed a previously suspected case of bubonic plague in a 3-year-old child. The authorities initially concluded on September 21 that a rat plague occurred in Menghai County. No new cases have been reported. More from our Prasar Bharati special correspondent in Beijing in this report.
The case was discovered during a county-wide screening for the disease after 3 rats were found dead for unknown reasons in a village in Menghai County. A level 4 emergency response has been launched to prevent the spread of the disease. In July, China confirmed a case of bubonic plague in the northern province of Inner Mongolia, which led to 2 deaths in August and sparked public concern. Infected rats are a key source of the disease, which also transmits to humans, typically through bites from infected fleas. Anshuman Mishra for World News, All India Radio, Beijing.
The United Nations has expressed concerns over fresh resumption of hostilities along the line of contact between Armenia and Azerbaijan in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict zone. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on both sides to immediately stop fighting, de-escalate tensions and return to meaningful negotiations without delay. According to media reports, both states have declared martial law and Armenia has ordered total mobilization of its military. The latest skirmish has heightened fears of instability in South Caucasus and a region that provides crucial transit routes for gas and oil to the world markets. India has been closely monitoring the developments on the intra-Libyan dialogue. In response to media queries, Indian External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Unhrc said India has taken note of the progress in dialogue facilitated by Morocco and the talks in Montreux, Switzerland under the auspices of UN support mission in Libya. The spokesperson said India welcomes these international efforts aimed at a peaceful settlement of the conflict through an intra-Libyan dialogue, taking into account the legitimate aspirations of the Libyan people while preserving Libya's sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity. Now let us take a look at the coronavirus updates from around the world. According to WHO data, the number of infected cases has crossed 33.03 million worldwide. A number of European countries have reimposed lockdowns and other restrictions in their worst affected regions. The UK is eyeing tougher restrictions for England as the outbreak spreads. In Latin America, Brazil has the highest number of deaths at 140,000 so far, while the number of confirmed cases have risen more than 7 lakh in Argentina. Iran in the past week has confirmed its highest number of new cases since early June, while Africa recorded more than 1.4 million confirmed cases. Meanwhile, South Korea has registered lowest COVID-19 cases since last month ahead of Chuseok holidays. Japan is set to remove travel ban for more than 10 countries from this October. In India, the total COVID recoveries crossed the landmark milestone of 5 million as the recovery rate improved to 82.58%. Moving on to sports, in French Open tennis, men's singles saw Andy Murray succumbing to Stanislas Wawrinka on the opening day, while Simona Halep and Victoria Azarenka proceeded to the second round in women's single event. In Indian Premier League cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore has set a target of 201 runs for 3 wickets in their stipulated 20 overs. In its reply, Mumbai Indians had scored 83 for 4 wickets in 12 overs as per the latest updates. India is celebrating the 150th birthday anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to Vaishnav Jan by artists from Zambia. And with that, we end the bulletin. See you at same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.